Welcome to the Shawn Show, How to Learn Karate, Lesson 2. If you haven't learned Lesson 1 yet, you need to go back. I'm gonna go ahead and link it right here. So go ahead and go back and learn Lesson 1 and then come back to this video to do Lesson 2. All right, for Lesson 2, the first thing we're gonna do is a low block. So Anne-Marie's gonna have her feet together. She's gonna bow. She's gonna go to yoi. Good, now she's gonna put one of her hands away and she's gonna do low block. So she's gonna take that hand, load it up to her ear, and then when I say low block, she's just gonna straight down, right at the height of her belt, okay? Now when I say it again, she's gonna have the same hand down here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're gonna do the other hand. So she's gonna put that hand away, put the other hand out, load it up to her ear, down and up. Good, and down, and each. Knee, sun, shi, and go. Good, and back to yoi. Feet together and bow. Good, so now you've learned low block. All right, the next thing we're gonna learn today is a face punch. So she's gonna bow, go to yoi. You've already learned how to punch to the center. Now we're gonna punch to the face. So the same thing, except now we're gonna aim right at the chin, right at the chin. So she's gonna put both hands in the chamber. She's gonna punch right out to the face. And then when I count, she's gonna switch sides. And each, knee, sun, shi, go, rope, seach, hutch, cue, and ju. And back to yoi. Feet together and bow. Next thing we're gonna learn is a knee kick. So we're gonna do this from yoi position, just like we do all of our techniques when we first learn them. So feet together and bow, go to yoi. Good, the way I like to teach this is you're gonna grab an invisible stick out at your face level. So she's gonna reach out and grab, imagine you're holding a stick. Now what I want you to do is to break that stick over your knee. So she's gonna bring her hands down and she's gonna bring her knee up. And make sure that you point your toes down to the ground when you do your knee kick. You don't want them to get hurt. And each. And she's gonna switch sides each time. Knee, sun, shi, go, roku, sichi, hachi, cue, and on the last one, we always say ki real loud, and ju.
Ki.
And then back to yoi, and feet together, and bow. The next thing we're gonna do is a front stance. She's gonna go to yoi. Go ahead and put her right foot back behind her, about 2 times shoulder width, like we were doing for the horse stance. So she's got this front stance. The back leg is straight, the front knee is bent, both feet are going to the front. You see that the feet are shoulder width apart. They're the width of your shoulders. They're not right lined up behind one another, okay? So she's gonna get into a high block position, and she's gonna, when she does this, she's gonna have this body turn just slightly offline. Now, when I say punch, she's gonna throw a good strong punch, okay? And then after the punch, she goes right back to that high block. Here we go, and punch. 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're gonna switch legs. She's gonna get back in that high block position. When I say each, she's gonna do that punch and then come right back to that high block. And each, knee, sun, shi, Good, and then back to Yoi. So now she has that low block, right? So we're gonna do that low block and the face punch. So when I say punch, remember she's gonna, that angle always on those blocks are important. She's gonna have that body turn just a tad bit, and then now she's gonna do the face punch. And punch, and then back to that low block. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now she's gonna switch sides. Good, so same thing. She has that body turn, she's in that low block. She has that chamber hand that we've always talked about. That knee is bent, that back leg is straight. And look at those back toes. They're going as much to the front as you possibly can. They're not off to the side. That helps you when we move on to lesson 3 to be able to step. So again, face punch, low block to face punch, and each knee, sun, she, and go. And then back to Yoi. Good, and feet together and bow. Now we're gonna do knee kicks. So she's gonna go to Yoi, facing the front. She's gonna step back into that front stance that we were just working on. So she gets in that front stance and she puts her hands up in a guard position, okay? And now she's gonna reach out, grab that stick, use her back leg to do her knee kick and break that stick over her knee. Here we go. And each. And knee. San. She. And the last one, she's going to say kiai and go. Kiai. And then she's going to switch feet. And we're going to do the other side. And each. Knee. San. She, and Lao Kiai, go.
Kiai.
And back to Yoi. Feet together and bow. All right, before we finish lesson 2, we're gonna do a self-defense because karate is always about self-defense. We're gonna do a cross hand grab. In lesson 1, we learned the same side, grab here. In lesson 2, we're gonna cross hand and we're gonna learn the opposite hand. But guess what? It's the same thing. So all she's gonna do is to make that big circle that she did before. Always after she gets away from the grab, what does she do? She steps away, she says,
Stop.
Stop. She gets away and she says, stop, help. Kiai, something very loud because it's so important to get attention from other people that someone's trying to harm you. It's very, very important. So she goes back to Yoi. Let's do the other hand now. I'm going to grab the other hand. She's going to make a big circle and then
stop.
Just like that. Now, because the cross hand grab and the same side grab, we've already learned those, we're going to put both of those together and do the self-defense for that one. Again, it's the same thing. We like to keep everything simple, but this is very, very, very effective. Pay attention. So I'm gonna grab with both of my hands on her wrist. Again, it's gonna be a little bit tighter, but she's gonna make that big circle all the way, and then she steps back and says stop. And then back to Yoi. We're gonna do it again. But we're gonna do the other hand. She's gonna make that big circle and
stop.
Just like that. Back to Yoi. Well, that concludes lesson 2. We're gonna move on to lesson 3. I'm gonna go ahead and link it right here so that you can move right into lesson 3.